all women are different, but they are all women. This video is androcentric from a men's point of view and is presented as opinion, commentary, and debate. Expressing opinions is not violence. These are ideas to challenge, question, and argue in public because classical liberalism relies on the First Amendment for its dialectic. If you are a feminist, then consider this. If patriarchy truly existed as claimed, feminism could not. And if all men are trash and women are equal to men, then what are we to conclude? Women will die for their children, men will die for their wives and children, and God chose to die for all mankind. Authority rolls up with responsibility. If this framing of facts offends you, click off to a cute cat video. Proceeding further will expose you to gamma bias and criticism directed at ideas, claims, institutions, not at any individual's virtue or dignity. Our method follows the 7 liberal arts, the trivium, grammar, logic, rhetoric, and the quadrivium, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy, and the transcendentals, the good, true, and beautiful. If this framework is not for you, feel free to exit now. It's no disgrace. Women are wonderful. God bless America. Men are great. Feminismus Delendis 8. A Masculine Odyssey. Navigating Life's Stages, Ethics, and Morality. Written by Conrad Riker. Available now. Links in description. Buy on Amazon. Amazon link https://////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////// in tail one varby, fleist lodge schwur, Freust leist lodge WWB, stroist treif schwur, Freust thasht thick. Here's a thinking process. 1. Analyze the user input. Task: write one viral Substack title and subtitle separated by a single colon. It should sell the disrespect diagnostic instrument, the case study, and the mature male response. Output only the title and subtitle. Write every man I know has felt it, that slow arterial blockage in the chest of daily life where respect used to flow. You notice it first as a vague discomfort. Your judgment gets vetoed and you can't recall when you agreed that was normal. Your children look at you sideways, having absorbed a narrative you never authored. A teacher, a therapist, a school administrator emails you in language that presumes you are already the problem. You feel the narrowing, but you cannot name it, because the entire culture is engineered to tell you that naming it is itself the proof of your toxicity. So I built a ledger, not a grievance journal. Those are for people who want to stay wounded. A diagnostic instrument, clinical, itemized, 60 questions that separate measurable disrespect from the background noise of ordinary human friction. The kind of tool a man uses when he suspects the foundation is cracking, but everyone insists the floor is fine. You answer honestly, you tally the score, and you hold in your hand something the gynocentric machinery of this civilization desperately does not want you to have, a map of exactly where you stand. Pattern recognition is not victimhood. A man who diagnoses the terrain is not whining about the weather. He is reading the field before he moves. This checklist exists because what gets measured gets managed, and what gets named can no longer gaslight you. Once you see the architecture clearly, the school emails, the veto overrides, the emotional dumping, the financial asymmetry, the quiet erasure of your authority as father and man, you stop asking, "Am I crazy?" and start asking, "What is my next correct action?" That second question is where this book lives. The disrespect pattern in plain view, the school email. The email arrived at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, forwarded from my daughter's third grade teacher with the subject line, "Just checking in on Adeline." Her mother, my ex-wife, Margot, had emailed the school first. She told them Adeline had been withdrawn and anxious after returning from my weekends and that she wanted to flag a pattern. No one called me first. The teacher's email to me opened with language that assumed I already stood accused. "We want to make sure Adeline feels safe and supported across both households." I had picked Adeline up from soccer. We made tacos. She showed me a drawing of a horse. She fell asleep watching a movie with her head on my shoulder. That was the weekend Margot described to the school as a source of distress. I wrote back calmly, 3 sentences. Adeline was happy, rested, and engaged. I offered to meet with the teacher together with Margot, so we could present a unified front. The teacher replied that Margot had already scheduled a separate conference. I was not invited to the soccer field. Margot told the other soccer parents I was hard to co-parent with. I know this because one of the fathers, decent man, the kind who shakes your hand and means it, pulled me aside after a Saturday game and said, "Hey man, she's been saying some things I just thought you should know." He looked sorry for me. I thanked him. My contribution to Adeline's soccer, registration, cleats, the snacks rotation, driving to every away game was already invisible. What was visible was Margot's narrative, that she carried the emotional weight and I was the logistical deadweight who complicated her life. She arrived late to games with coffee and a smile, hugged our daughter in front of everyone, and made sure the other mothers saw her as the heart of the family. I was the man standing at the edge of the blanket who couldn't quite explain why his daughter had started calling him the strict one. The kitchen at drop-off. Margot wanted money for a tutor. Adeline's reading was fine. I had checked with the teacher before the separate conference excluded me. But Margot had hired a reading specialist who cost $90 an hour. She texted me the invoice with a note. "Your share, due Friday." I asked whether we could discuss it first, the way our parenting agreement said we would, joint decisions on extracurricular expenses. She replied that she had already made the decision because I always delay and Adeline couldn't afford to wait. When I pointed out that Adeline's reading scores were above grade level, Margot wrote back, "This is exactly what I mean. You make everything about being right instead of about her." The next month, she enrolled Adeline in a second enrichment program without asking. When I said I couldn't absorb the cost on top of child support, she told mutual friends I was withholding from my own daughter. The Saturday morning, my son Theo is 11. He arrived for his weekend with a backpack and a rehearsed sentence. "Mom says you don't pay for enough stuff, and that's why she's always stressed." He said it the way children say things that don't belong to them, flat, careful, watching for my reaction. I recognized the cadence. It was Margot's voice coming through a boy who had been given a script no child should carry. I made eggs. I asked Theo about his science project. He talked about volcanoes for 10 minutes and forgot the script entirely. But I wrote down what he said because I knew I would need it later, not to weaponize, to remember, to keep a record of the slow, deliberate way a child can be turned against his father without a single courtroom. The mediation room. The mediator introduced herself and immediately asked Margot, "Do you feel safe?" No one asked me anything. Margaito talked for 20 uninterrupted minutes about my emotional unavailability, my rigidity, my pattern of control. When she said control, she meant I had asked to be consulted before she spent my money. When she said rigid, she meant I followed the parenting agreement. When she said emotionally unavailable, she meant I had stopped apologizing for things I hadn't done. When it was my turn, I said I have never missed a payment. I have never missed a weekend. I have driven 4 hours round trip in a snowstorm to be at a parent-teacher conference I wasn't invited to. I have documentation of every exchange. I am asking for one thing, consultation before financial decisions that affect my household. The mediator looked at her notes. She said, "I hear you, but I also hear that Margot feels undermined when you push back. Can you sit with that?" I was being asked to absorb an accusation as if it were a fact. My calm was reframed as coldness. My evidence was reframed as aggression. My request for equal consultation was reframed as control. Margot sat across the table with the serene expression of someone who had already won, because in a room governed by feelings rather than facts, she always would. Case study excerpt ends. Clinical diagnostic instrument for systemic male disrespect audit, used by Institute for Men's Rights and Gamma Bias Research, Red Pill Science. A quantifiable measure of the cumulative erosion of male authority, provision, and dignity across domestic, institutional, and social spheres. Answer each line quickly from 1 to 5. Do not try to game the pattern. Some lines are deliberately protective and reverse scored. 1 minus, not at all. 2 minus, a little. 3 minus. A lot. 5 minus, totally. 1. When I make a reasoned decision regarding household matters, this person overrides my judgment with a final veto, often without discussion or recourse. 2. This person recruits the children to share their private feelings or grievances with her specifically to undermine my discipline or perspective. 3. This person or institution respects my role, responsibilities, and stated boundaries even when we disagree. 4. This person or institution can explain my strongest reasonable concern before answering it. 5. This person or institution corrects problems directly instead of recruiting children, friends, offices, or authorities into the conflict. 6. I frequently feel I must justify my presence or intent in spaces where women and children are present, as if I am inherently threatening. 7. My financial or labor contributions are dismissed as what I should do or privilege, rather than being acknowledged as effort or sacrifice. 8. This person or institution applies the same standard to my conduct and to their own. 9. I am expected to absorb this person's anxiety, mood swings, or stress without receiving reciprocal support from my own emotional state. 10. This person or institution treats my work, provision, sacrifice, and restraint as real contributions rather than invisible background service. 11. When I raise a valid complaint, it is reframed as emotional weakness, fragility, or selfishness rather than a legitimate concern. 12. This person or institution accepts calm evidence without escalating to labels, insinuations, or reputation threats. 13. In domestic disputes, I am assumed to be at fault simply because I am the male partner, regardless of the evidence presented. 14. This person or institution supports my lawful parental or household authority where it is reasonable and safe. 15. My decisions are frequently overturned after the fact by this person, rendering my initial judgment meaningless. 16. The children view me as the bad guy or outsider, while viewing this person as the good guy or ally in conflicts. 17. This person or institution can apologize, repair, and change course when a claim against me proves false or exaggerated. 18. This person or institution separates discomfort from danger and disagreement from harm. 19. Financial obligations are increased or withheld based on my compliance with this person's emotional or social demands. 20. This person or institution helps preserve peace, order, and truth, rather than converting every disagreement into a status contest. Scoring key: maximum score 100, research threshold 76 or higher. Forward items: 1, 2, 6, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 16, 19. Use the answer as the points. Protective reverse items: 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 12, 14, 17, 18, 20. Convert 1, 2, 3, 4, 15s, 18, 20. Convert 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before adding. Plain English: high agreement with a forward item raises the score. High agreement with a protective item lowers the score after decoding. 20 to 39, low minus the benevolent beta, disrespect is occasional and easily corrected with a simple apology or gesture of goodwill. From Latin ben, well, and beta, the second implying secondary status. 40-59, medium, the gamma grind disrespect is recurring and requires constant negotiation, leading to chronic fatigue and resentment. From Greek gamma, third letter, signifying the man who is present but not primary. 60-75, high minus a silent hostage, disrespect is structural. The man is trapped in a double bind where any action is interpreted as aggression. From Latin hostis, enemy stranger, indicating the man is a stranger in his own home. Minus 76, 2100. Severe, the sovereign erasure. Disrespect is total. The man's identity, labor, and authority are fully subsumed by the genocentric infrastructure. From Latin erasure, to wipe out, signifying the complete obliteration of male agency. Disrespect analysis. The man who reads this document has already been run over. He is looking for a way to name the thing that hit him. The clinical diagnostic instrument for systemic male disrespect audit is that naming tool. It is not a therapy handout. It is a recognition instrument for pattern detection. Use it to see what you are up against before the next hit arrives. Section 1. The disrespect pattern in the case study. The case study is a single man's ledger, but the pattern is universal. Walk through it with the instrument in hand. The school email is forward-coded disrespect. A wife contacts an institution with an unverified claim. The institution assumes the male is a threat before speaking to him. The teacher's language, we want to make sure Adeline feels safe, presumes the father is a safety risk. No evidence, no call, no due process. This is the state suspicion item. A man must justify his presence in spaces where women and children exist. The forward score here is maximum. The soccer field is reputation leverage. The mother controls the narrative. The father's contributions, registration, cleats, driving are invisible. The reverse-coded items that should protect him are absent. No one corrects problems directly. No one applies the same standard to her conduct. She recruits the social circle. The children begin to see him as the strict one. This is the recruitment of children into the mother's emotional sphere, bypassing paternal authority. The forward score climbs. The kitchen at drop-off is financial extraction disguised as concern. She hires a tutor without consultation. She sends the invoice. When he asks for the joint decision their agreement requires, she reframes his request as delay. When he points to evidence, reading scores above grade level, she calls him selfish. This is the family law leverage item. Financial obligations increased or withheld based on compliance with emotional demands. The reverse-coded items that should protect him, treating his work and provision as real contributions, are absent. He is paying for a problem that does not exist, and his payment proves his guilt. The Saturday morning is the child coaching item. The son arrives with a rehearsed sentence. The mother has used the child as a messenger. This is the forward item. Children recruited into the mother's emotional sphere to undermine paternal authority. The boy forgets the script over eggs, but the damage is done. The father must now decide whether to correct the child, which risks alienating him, or absorb the message, which validates the mother's narrative. The mediation room is the gamma bias engine in full operation. The mediator asks the woman if she feels safe. No one asks the man. She speaks for 20 minutes about his emotional unavailability. When he presents evidence, payments made, weekends kept, snowstorms driven, the mediator asks him to sit with her feeling of being undermined. This is the reverse-coded item that should protect him. The ability to separate discomfort from danger, disagreement from harm. It is absent. The room operates on private logic. Feeling equals fact. Defense equals guilt. Calm equals coldness. Evidence equals aggression. The forward items, narrative capture, emotional labor dumping, legal presumption of guilt all fire at once. The instrument reveals a cumulative score that crosses the threshold. The pattern is not isolated, it is systemic. The disrespect is not random, it is strategic. Section 2. The game theory and gamma bias incentives behind the pattern. Disrespect at this level is not a personality flaw. It is a rational strategy in a field of incentives that reward it. Understand the game, or you will keep losing. Gamma bias is the operating system. Female harm is amplified, male harm is minimized. In the case study, the mother's anxiety is treated as a legitimate concern that requires institutional intervention. The father's stress, financial, emotional, logistical, is invisible. The school, the mediator, the social circle all operate on this bias. They see her distress as data. They see his evidence as aggression. This is not malice. It is the default setting of institutions captured by female-coded consensus. The incentives align against you. The mother gains reputation by controlling the narrative. She gains financial leverage by hiring services without consultation. She gains legal advantage by establishing a pattern of fear in the record. The mediator gains an easy session by validating feelings rather than testing facts. The school gains protection by assuming the male is a threat. Everyone's incentives point toward your erasure. This is a repeated test of frame. Every interaction is a probe. Can she override your judgment without consequence? Can she recruit the children? Can she contact the institution first? Each time you absorb the hit without naming it, the threshold for disrespect lowers. The pattern accelerates. The private logic becomes household law. Your defense becomes the crime. The game is not about being right. It is about who controls the definition of reality. In a gamma-biased field, the woman's feelings have jurisdiction. Your facts do not. The mediator's question, "Can you sit with that?" is a demand that you absorb her accusation as truth. If you comply, you confirm her frame. If you resist, you prove her frame. The double bind is the weapon. The mature male recognizes this as a repeated pattern, not a single disagreement. He stops arguing the content and starts observing the process. He sees the incentives, he names the game. Section 3. The mature male response. Score it, name it, stop feeding it. The response has 3 movements. Score it, name it, stop feeding it. First, score it privately. Use the instrument to audit the pattern. Do not announce your score. Do not present it in mediation. This is for your own recognition. Gather dated observations. Write down the exact words, the timestamps, the evidence. The case study man did this. He wrote down what his son said. He kept the emails. He remembered the snowstorm. That is the first step. You cannot fight what you cannot name. Second, name it to yourself and to trusted counsel. The disrespect pattern has a shape. The school email is state suspicion. The soccer field is narrative capture. The kitchen is financial extraction. The Saturday morning is child recruitment. The mediation is private logic operating as law. Name each item without ranting. Use short sentences. This is a unilateral veto. This is recruitment of the child. This is an unfalsifiable accusation. Naming it breaks the spell. You stop feeling crazy. Third, stop feeding it. The disrespect pattern requires your participation. It needs you to jade, justify, argue, defend, explain. It needs you to absorb the accusation. It needs you to pay for the tutor you did not authorize. It needs you to attend the mediation where your evidence is ignored. Stop. Do not argue content when the process is a trap. When she says you are controlling, do not explain why you are not. Say, that is not correct. I will not discuss this further until we are both calm. Do not pay for unilateral decisions. Say, I did not agree to this expense. I will not pay. If you want to discuss it, send me a written proposal. Do not attend meetings where you are presumed guilty. Say, I will not participate in a process that assumes my guilt. I will meet with a neutral third party, or I will not meet. Do not absorb her emotional labor. Say, I am not your therapist. If you are anxious, see a professional. I will discuss logistics only. Meet it. Do not let the children carry messages. Say to the child, that sounds like something your mother said. I am your father. You can talk to me directly about anything. You do not need to be her messenger. Protect the children by minimizing their exposure to the conflict. Document every interaction. Keep a written record. If legal risk is present, hire a male-friendly lawyer who understands these dynamics. Do not expect the system to protect you. It is designed to extract from you. Judge conduct by repeated patterns, not single events. 1 unilateral veto is a disagreement. 10 is a system. 1 child recruitment is a mistake. 5 is a strategy. The instrument gives you the lens to see the pattern. Use it. The mature male response is not revenge. It is disengagement from a game you cannot win on their terms. You stop feeding the disrespect loop. You set boundaries. You conserve your energy for what matters. Your children, your work, your peace. You do not need to win the argument. You need to stop playing the game. The disrespect checklist is not a weapon. It is a map. It shows you where the traps are. Once you see them, you stop stepping into them. That is the victory score the instrument honestly. Tally the forward items you checked, the reverse items that failed. If the number climbs past 12 or 15, you are not experiencing a series of misunderstandings, communication gaps, or isolated bad days. You are living inside a system of contempt that treats your judgment as provisional, your provision as expected, your presence as suspicious, and your grievances as pathology. The audit converts fog into data. Hold that number in your hand. It is not a feeling, it is a finding. Now stop apologizing for seeing clearly. Every time you treated a pattern as an incident, you extended credit to a debtor who never intended to repay. Every time you explained yourself to someone whose premise was that your explanation proved guilt, you fed the machinery of your own subordination. The mature male frame is not anger, it is not retreat. It is the quiet, settled refusal to negotiate the terms of your own dignity with parties whose power depends on your confusion. Your judgment is not provisional. Your earnings are not communal guilt penance. Your fatherhood is not a visitation privilege granted by a maternal sovereign state. Draw the line. Document the pattern. Withdraw subsidy from contempt. Build the parallel life, fraternal counsel, financial sovereignty, institutional literacy, exit capacity, the way men have always built, without permission, without apology, with the patient, hard-cased conviction that truth patiently held will outlast the lie. The audit is not the end of something. It is the first clear diagnosis after years of being told your symptoms were your character. A civilization that pathologizes the very men who build, defend, fund, and father. It has chosen its own replacement. You need not go down with it. Score the pattern, name the machinery. Restore the frame, then build what comes next. Sponsored book, A Masculine Odyssey, Navigating Life, Stages, Ethics, and Morality. Buy on Amazon link https://www.amazon.com Masculine Odyssey, Navigating Stages, Morality ebook, DP-B0CSXQVHWB. Men are starving. Not for food, but for purpose. A primal hunger modern society denies while force-feeding you apologies for existing. I spent decades choking on that lie. Climbed the corporate ladder only to find the rungs greased with feminist platitudes. Watched friends get divorced into poverty by courts that treat marriage licenses as male liquidation orders. Felt my own son's confusion when schools taught him masculinity was a disorder to medicate away. This book isn't theory. It's a battlefield report from the front lines of a war they don't want you to know exists. A war against your biology, your legacy, your right to lead. Through 12 years of researching evolutionary psychology and male development paired with humiliating personal defeats, I uncovered patterns. Why do men who lift weights earn more? Because your biceps broadcast genetic quality to employers and mates alike. Why are married men dying younger? Monogamy chains you to a system that trades your labor for dwindling sexual returns. The data's clear. Sperm counts are collapsing, male suicide skyrocketing, and every institution from Boy Scouts to seminaries has been weaponized to turn you into a compliant ATM with daddy issues. This book is for rational men ready to exit the matrix. You'll learn how to dodge divorce rape using Elon Musk's wealth shields, rebuild Spartan brotherhoods in Joe Rogan's digital Agora, and hack religion's discipline protocols to forge unbreakable will. Not a single paragraph coddles. If you think toxic masculinity is anything but a linguistic castration tool, if you still believe male tears solve problems, close this book now. Go knit a vagina hat for your next sensitivity circle. For the rest, the hungry, these pages weaponize evolutionary biology against genocratic lies. You'll discover why 93% of workplace deaths are men, and how to profit from that disposable status, reverse engineer ancestral hunter codes into Wall Street dominance, and turn gyms into temples where deadlifts commune with divine purpose. The future belongs to algorithmic alphas who merge ancestral truths with AI leverage. Your ancestors didn't carve civilizations by asking permission. Neither will you buy this book, dominate or stay beta. The choice, like your testosterone, is crashing either way. Buy on Amazon link https://www.amazon.com Masculine Odyssey, Navigating Stages, Morality ebook, DP-B0CSXQVHWB. A Masculine Odyssey, Navigating Life Stages, Ethics and Morality, written by Conrad Riker. Buy now, links in description.